What's happening, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com. Coming back to you with another video live with Joshua Crisp,
my man,
the man of the hour. And we're going to talk about how Joshua Crisp was able to change his life after failing on 3 products that he launched on Amazon. This guy launched not 1 product that failed, not 2 products that failed. You launched 3 products. You struck out. But the crazy thing about being an entrepreneur, there's no such thing as a strikeout or a failure unless you allow yourself to give up. So how the heck did you go from dead broke, man? You were thrifting, reselling on eBay. You were stacking some cash. You were working a job, but you really weren't getting ahead. But you had saved enough money to make a move, and you're investing in this Amazon private label business, and you're failing. How the heck did you go from that to now living in this beautiful house in Round Rock, Texas? You did what, over $3 million, did you say, in sales?
Yep,
last year alone? Mm-hmm. You're running a freaking real estate business where he has like 36 doors, which comes to over like 12 properties. The properties are in Indiana. You're living in Texas. You got people managing it. You're freaking living an amazing, crazy life. How the heck did you get through those failures? That's what we're going to talk about.
Awesome. Yeah. People would say if my first 3 products failed, people would say 3 strikes, you're out. I tell people with 3 strikes, I stroke gold, right? And you have to understand that if you look at Jeff Bezos, you look at Mark Zuckerberg, you look at Warren Buffett, 3 billionaires, right? Their company policy is fail fast, fail frequent, fail often. Wow. The successful understand that failure is not a failure. Failure is a lesson. And the quicker you learn the lesson, you can course correct and get towards your success, right? And that's what I did. Like, I understood, like, it's not about how, it's about when. This thing will work, right? I just had to figure out what I was doing and really hone in on that, right? So that's literally how I got there. I just became obsessed, right? And your obsessions become your possessions. Like, if you want it hard enough, if you want it bad enough, it will work. It's not about how, it's about when, right? So what are some of the lessons that you learned? Because there's people here who they're thrifting, hitting garage sales. I'm on a road trip right now, thrifting across the country. And it's a lot of fun, but to be honest with you, it's kind of hard to scale past the 5 to 10K a month gross sales, 3 to 6 grand a month profit doing what we do. It's possible, obviously, with warehouse employee systems, but the folks out there who want to kind of get into a business where the profits come to them, they maybe order something or they put work in once and they get replenishables, like maybe share some tips. Yeah, so for getting started with Amazon, that's exactly how we do it. Is we have our money work for us, not us work for it. Like, it's front end loaded, Steve. Once you find the product, you get the product to the fulfillment center, you get it in Amazon, it's just going to keep generating income, right? You just need minimum maintenance to make sure that the product doesn't run out of inventory and that you keep up on your advertising. So that's how I was able to do it. Why did you fail the first 3 products? Like, thinking back now, man, like that's what I really want to dive into. That's kind of the theme of this video, is like, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, you're out. But obviously you weren't out. You failed 3 products. How did you not go bankrupt? What are some of the lessons learned? What can people keep their eye open to when starting this business? I know that's a lot I'm throwing at you, but maybe share some of your thoughts. Yeah, sure. So the 3 products, they were 3 different products, right? And with each failure, I was getting close to perfecting what I call my formula, right? And the reason why I was failing, if you don't have GPS and you're somewhere new, you're going to get lost. It's inevitable, right? So I didn't have GPS. I didn't have guidance. I didn't have someone showing me what to do. There weren't all these YouTube videos, coaches, courses, trainings. Absolutely. There was podcasts wasn't huge. YouTube's courses weren't available. That stuff wasn't cool 4 or 5 years ago, Steve. So I was literally doing it through trial and error. Heck, softwares that we have today, like Jungle Scout and everything, weren't even readily available. No. So I understood that I needed to find a product that everybody wanted, right? I understood that I needed to find a product that would sell every single day, right? Not just a couple days a year. And I was trying different products every single time, right? My first product that failed was a car charger, USB car charger. My theory was it's light, it's about this small, super light to ship, under $1 to source, right? So if it's under $1 to source and I'm selling it for 10 bucks, there's huge margins, super light, right. So it's easy, fast to ship. Unfortunately, everybody's selling car chargers and it was super saturated. So I couldn't get my feet off the ground. Then number 2, if you have a product on Amazon that's under $10, it's an add-on product, Steve. So now you have to spend over $19.99 in order to get prime shipping, right? Because it's not advantageous for Amazon. So my conversions were way low because people had to buy multiple products. And third is, I thought negotiating and finding a supplier meant hammering the supplier for the lowest price possible.
Pissing them off.
And
as
there's
much
a
as
saying,
possible.
oh, they're going to work with you, right? There's a saying, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
So the suppliers will negotiate with you, but understand if you're haggling them to the point where they make no money, they're not going to lose money. So they're going to give you B grade, C grade, defective, old
refunds, returns, customer complaints.
So I'm getting slaughtered. Refund, negative feedback. You hit it. I'm getting hit from all different angles. So that was down the drain.
And he's just
right?
starting his business. He's probably thinking to himself, I should go back to the thrift store.
Yeah, listen, the force of average is something that you fight with every single day, no matter where you're at. If you're starting where I was, where I could barely make ends meet, or if you're making several $1 million a year, the force of average is always tugging on you, right? So you always have to keep looking forward. And understand this, like the definition of insanity, Steve, is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results, right? So even though I wouldn't even say failing, I was making these mistakes, I was losing money. Like my friends, my family are saying, when are you going to give up? Like you're trying to get the easy route, you're trying to find the golden ticket.
They were hammering you hard. You were telling me before we were talking, looking at this monster tortoise that's walking across the golf course. You were telling me, man, behind the scenes, they were really coming at you hard. They're saying this is not what a man is supposed to do. And based on your culture, there's different expectations of what a man's supposed to do, how you're supposed to take care of your family, get a job, this and that. So you're failing, man. You're not making money. You're not showing results. How the heck do you go from this failed car charger, which didn't make sense? You didn't know. You didn't have that roadmap. You didn't have the GPS. How'd you go on to the second product? What was that?
So, yeah, and it's crazy. Like, people were really questioning my integrity. Like, I had one child. I had another child on the way. My wife was unable to work. Like, people were telling me, like, you're not a real man. Real men go and get a job and an education. And I just knew it wasn't about how, it was about when. So I went right back to the drawing board. I knew I wanted something that was standard size product, cheap to ship, something that people used every single day. I didn't know about seasonal products and non-seasonal products, but it just made sense. So I went back, tried to find something that would sell every single day that everybody could use, no matter if you're a boy or girl, young or old. And I went back and I failed again, right? And the product I launched was a sticky pad, and it was super thin. It's a stretchy sticky pad that you put on your car, and it holds your phone, right? Before all these crazy phone holders, where you could stick it on the wall and stick your phone to it.
You were sticking with that car niche, huh? You got the car charger, you got the little sticky.
I just knew, like, if I could find something that people would buy every day, all day long, no matter your age, there's no gender restriction, there's no age restriction, I would sell a lot of it, and I would sell frequency. Like, frequency and residual business is the key to automation growth while scaling, right? I understood that. I didn't understand that in fancy terms, but I knew I just want something that people will buy every day, boy or girl, young or old.
Makes sense.
And I got hammered again because I didn't do my research properly, and they were melting all over people's dashboards, and I was getting slaughtered, right?
Oh my god!
So that thing failed.
How long did that take for that thing? How long did it take for that thing to fail?
I was doing good because it was a trending product, and that it was. If it would have made it, it wouldn't have made it because it's a trending product. Today, those things are dead and gone. Like, my fourth product that netted me $1 million is today my best product. Still sells like clockwork, right? If that product would have made it, it would have failed because it was a trending product, because nobody uses those things anymore, right?
All right, so that's number one. Number two, tell us the story with number three before we get into this $1 million net product.
Right. So these two are like the card niche kind of, right? They're super small. So I said, okay, that's not working, right? Let me try something else. The third one I thought I cracked it with, and it was a garlic press, right?
Oh, God, you did not go with the... Oh, man, you went with the garlic press.
So it was a garlic press. I'm like, listen...
What's his name who's always talking about that? He has the Amazon podcast, Volkner, or...
Is it Scott?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. So...
He's awesome, man.
That's funny. That. I was looking at, pineapple, core things. I was looking at everything. That's the one that struck it. I said, okay, it's stainless steel. You can't break this thing, right? Because on the first product, it wasn't working, right? And then you couldn't buy it because it was too cheap. The second one was melting and breaking. So I'm like, okay, the third one, it's small, it's lightweight, everybody cooks. Garlic is one of the main ingredients. It's stainless steel, for crying out loud. You can't break this thing. I launch it, and nobody buys it because there's 2 million of them, right? Nobody buys it. And finally, I was able to sell through it just through liquidating it, dropping my price, doing promotions. And I lost a little bit of money, not too much. But the fourth one really took off, right? The fourth one really took off.
What was the time between starting the first product? Like, say you started in June and then the fourth was in August. Like, what was the time frame between product one versus this fourth one that we're going to talk about, which actually took off?
About 6 months, because
that's a pretty short period of time to launch 4 products.
Dude, I'm telling you, and that's a short period of time for someone who's broke, who has nothing.
How much did you lose in between those first 3? Would you say?
Probably about $3 to $4 grand. Like, I'm not very happy saying it, because at that time that was a fortune for us. Like, we didn't have anything. Like, my rent was $375. Like, we didn't have a car. Like, we didn't have anything. So that was like everything. And
to be honest, it's still on the cheaper side compared to like a lot of people nowadays. They're launching, they're spending 3 to 6 on just one.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I know you teach.
Oh, absolutely.
But
1,000 units, 2,000
that's
units.
Pretty. You are still using your formula today, just kind of a shortened. Like,
and that's the crazy thing, Steve. I didn't know it, but I was creating this formula back then, like just through like my rational thinking and the way I was thinking. Like, I was creating the micro launch. I was creating the different, like, make sure it's not seasonal, make sure it's not trending, make sure that it's not gender resistant, that's gender neutral, it's age neutral, something that you can use every single day. So all these different components that are in my strategy, my formula today, the AMZ formula, I've actually cultivated then and I didn't know, right? Wow. So that's absolutely insane. So literally within 6 months, because success loves speed, and now that's something I live and breathe by. Success loves speed,
crazy.
And slow feet don't eat. Even though I didn't know that fancy saying, right, that cool saying back then, I knew, okay, if I dwindle and I dwell on this failure, then I'm just going to start, my brain's going to take over. I'm not going to get back up. So I need to get the money as fast as possible and do it. So it's just double down on the thrifting. Start hitting different thrift
stores. So is that
stores.
what you did? You used thrifting to get yourself out of this $3,000 to $4,000 loss to get the money to
That's
to get
the
back
only
into
way I could do it, dude. Like what I was making $7.25 an hour, working 40 hours a week. And I could barely, like...
You had a full-time job this whole time?
Yeah, full-time job. Working 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. No car, no computer. The entire time I'm walking 3 blocks. Thank God the library was close to me, right? I would walk to the library, use their phone, right? I didn't have a car, didn't have credit, didn't have money, didn't have a bank account, nothing, right? So, and that's another lesson that everybody can get, Steve. Like, people think they have to have a certain amount of money. They have to have a certain credit score. They have to have...
All the stars need to be aligned before I get started.
And to burst everybody's bubble, like, there is never a perfect time. Like, the best time to start was yesterday, and the next best time is right now. Because perfectionism leads to procrastination, and it will win every single time, right?
So let's dive into this product. Obviously, you're not going to be able to share too much about it because it's actually, it's like his best product
it's the holy
ever.
grail, right?
Maybe you give some hints or you can share some numbers or something to inspire people. But let's talk about this 4th product. You launched it. How did it go? Did it take off quick? What are some tips that you can share with people to go from maybe their first couple failed products, which it's likely that you're going to fail on a couple. It's just, there's no way around it. Obviously, there's resources now, and Joshua and I, we actually have a training that's going to be coming up soon. So if you haven't already, click the first link down below in the description. It may or may not be done by the time this video is posted, but we want to get this value out to you. But definitely sign up for that and get on this. It's kind of like this little waiting list. And I'm going to send you more free videos and content from Josh. But let's talk about that 4th product.
Yeah, so the 4th product took off, right? Immediately, like a bat, like literally just took off, right?
Wait, it just boom, right off the bat.
Literally within a matter of weeks, it was taken off. And that's kind of what validates the formula we're talking about with the strategy of the micro launch, right? Like, you don't want to order thousands of units, even though a majority of people are telling you. You only need a small majority of units to get into actually Amazon's ecosystem to see if it's going to gain traction. Once you get depth of market and proof of concept, you can order air, get it there in 2 weeks, and scale to the moon. You might break even on the front end through air shipping, right? But now you have a proof of concept, and you can make that back on the back end, right? So I only had a small fraction of units. I only had a couple hundred units, Steve, and we were out the first 2 weeks. And it actually took me a month to order because this time I was like, listen, this is working. I'm going around to different family members getting money. I'm working. I took all of my money, right? Like, my son was about to be born. We were getting congratulations letters with money for our sons. I was taking everything, man. I sold everything that I had.
It takes balls, man.
And put it all on the line, man. It's just go big or go home. Once I got that proof of concept, I said, this is it. I knew, right? Wow. And the reason why, like, it hit all the components that I know today. Like, it wasn't seasonal. It sells 24/7, 365. It was a smaller unit, a standard size unit, right? So it didn't cost a lot to fulfill. It didn't cost a lot to ship or store, right? Also, it was gender neutral. A lot of people make mistakes on their first product by making it gender specific, right? Like a pink sports bottle or a pink yoga mat. So it was gender neutral.
Killing like half the market.
Yeah, it was something that boys, girls, men, women, 3 years old to 60-year-old could use. So it was a broad mass market, right, that people were able to buy. Also, it wasn't trending. Trending products can make you a lot of money very quickly, but they can also die as quick as they took off. So it was a product that wasn't going to go anywhere, right? A perfect example of a trending product is the fidget spinners, right? I made a lot of money. A lot of people made a lot of money.
But you made money on that too?
They lasted 3 months and then they were dead, right?
Yeah.
This product till today, 4 or 5 years later, is still crushing it. So you want to find a product that's not going to crash and burn, that people are going to constantly use, right? And it hit all of those, right? And it was right at the time when this thing was really like under tap. Now it's a super saturated market. So it just goes into play that timing, right? Like the longer you wait, like the longer you can miss out, right? So all of the timing was perfect. It hit all the criteria, and it just took off, right?
So I got to meet your lovely wife the other day at Salt Lick. If you guys are ever in Round Rock, Salt Lick is the best barbecue ever. But she's so supportive, man. She's such a sweet woman, and it's just awesome seeing your guys' relationship. She's so supportive and there for you. But I want to kind of hear about this fourth product starts taking off. You're getting that preliminary success. You reorder inventory. I'm guessing you syndicated enough money to probably get more quantity outside of just a couple hundred. What's going on when the sales and the money starts flowing in? How's your wife's demeanor change? Your family, your kids, the people who are saying you're not a man, you're trying to get rich quick, and all this stuff. Like, that's what I'm really interested in.
Yeah, it was like I hate to tell you so, right? Like I was real humble because I came from nothing, right? Like I was a high school dropout. I have 1 year high school education, no degree, no diploma. No one in my family's ever owned a house, right?
Really?
I was a first generation millionaire, first generation homeowner, right? So I was real humble, and it was a real humbling experience just to be able, because I always told my wife, listen, we have to drink water. Sometimes we're so broke we can't even drink water. But when this works, and it will work, because it's not about how, it's about when, we'll drink champagne for the rest of our life. Like I was always telling her that. And even though we argued and we bumped heads because, you know, she was pregnant and she was upset, she was always supportive. And if it wasn't for her support, I wouldn't have made it, right? So it's just really humbling to really, because sometimes you start to question, like, okay, am I just going overboard with all this positive thinking? Like, it's not about how, it's about when, right? Like your obsessions become your possessions. What you think about, you bring about. And I just kept feeding myself with positivity. And sometimes you question yourself, like, man, like you think you're going crazy. So when you see the fruit of your labor, Steve, it's really humbling, right? And that's why, like, I teach not only the mechanics, but we also teach the mentality, which is the other half. And that is the unfair advantage, because you can have all the mechanics, but when you hit that objection, you hit that road bump, you hit that wall, what do, right? And I always give this example, Steve. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, two of unarguably the best athletes in the world, both have 2 coaches, and most people don't know this. They know who Phil Jackson is, but they don't know who Tim Grover is. Phil Jackson taught the mechanics, when to pass the ball, when to lay up, when to shoot, when to do this strategy, when to do this strategy. Tim Grover was the one in the gym pushing them when they couldn't lift another weight, do 1 more rep. When they lost 3 games consecutively, how do you go out and you give 110%? That's what Tim Grover did. Michael Jordan in 1996, throwing up on the sideline, wins a championship. How do you play sick with the flu and win a championship? And that's because Tim Grover was teaching them the mentality. So the unfair advantage, Steve, is having a perfect combination of mechanics and mentality.
Wow, man. It's crazy. Your story's unbelievable, brother. If you guys have enjoyed this video and you want to hear more about his story and more tips for how to get started, how to go from dead broke to nothing, to then using thrifting, garage sales, all that resale and stuff like we're doing here, to then build a nest egg, to then reinvest into other things, definitely click the link down below. We're going to have a webinar coming up if it's not already ready, some more free videos and stuff. Check out his Instagram, which is
at official Joshua Crisp,
and YouTube,
which is Joshua Crisp.
So we're gonna put some stuff on the screen, but I really appreciate you all. Hopefully this video motivated you guys. If you have any questions, any more topics you want us to talk about, anything you want us to answer, just leave a comment down below. But with that being said, have an amazing day, and we'll see you in the next one. Appreciate you, brother.
My man, thanks a lot.
All right. Yep. Peace.